Hey, what's up? It's Kris Krohn, and I'm here to make real estate super simple for you. And today I'm answering this question: what is equity? So I'm out here on the street selling my Kool-Aid. Hey, do you want some Kool-Aid? Do you want some money? Money? What's up, man? You want some Kool-Aid? Hey, do you want some equity? Kool-Aid? What is wrong with everybody? And guess what? Nobody wants to buy it.
But please don't touch my Kool-Aid, not my Kool-Aid.
And frankly, I have no idea why. This Kool-Aid has made me millions of dollars, and one of my key ingredients is
Sugar, water, mix.
Understanding equity. So if no one else wants to hear it, today I'm gonna teach my secrets with you on how I leveraged equity to make over $1 million by my mid-20s. Like I said, equity is a really important ingredient for making money in any real estate deal. But the problem is that there's so many different people and companies and markets that use that term in so many different ways.
Wow, so many.
I like to think of equity as a house, except a house that is filled with money. Now listen, if you ask Dr. Google what is equity, or worse, you ask your CPA, you're probably gonna get an answer kind of like this. Equity is the residual value of an entity's assets after deducting all its liabilities. And is that really helpful? Probably not. I'm here to make it stupid simple for you. Homes have intrinsic value. And let's make that equation really simple. You basically take the value of a home, what it's worth, and all you're really doing is subtracting what you owe on the house. That gives you the equity. Let me start with the easiest example. Let's say that this house is paid off. That's called free and clear. That means there's no mortgage, there's no debts, there's no liabilities. Basically, someone paid this house off, and yet that means that it has the most money in it because it also has the most equity. If this house is worth $300,000, and it's fully paid off, then I've got $300,000 of equity. Let me give you another example. Let's say for a moment that this house is worth $300,000 and you decide to pay $300,000 for it, which means you now have a $300,000 mortgage. You owe the bank $300,000 on a house that is worth $300,000. Guess what? No money, no equity. Now let's talk about the kind of example that comes up all the time in the world of real estate. Let's talk about a flip.
As you can see, it just fell over.
I've got a $150,000 house here. It's valued at $150,000, but guess what? This owner is selling it at a discount. Why? Because they crapped all over it. They had Doberman pinchers on the inside, they never cleaned up, and as a result they said, I'm gonna sell you this house for only $120,000. Now remember, $150,000 minus $120,000 means there's $30,000 of equity in this home. Now, by the way, I really like homes with equity, but here's where some people go wrong. They think, aha, I'm going to buy this home for $120,000. I'm gonna fix it up, and then I'm gonna sell it for $150,000, and I'm going to make the difference. In other words, that equity is mine. But you know what? What they don't realize is that often projects like this cost more money to fix up than they are aware. Like, worst case scenario, what if it actually cost more than $30,000 to fix this up? Then you would have negative equity, right? Because you now owe more, you've put more money in than it's even worth. Now listen, I just gave you a bad example of how equity can turn against you. Would you like equity to be your friend? Check this example out. Let's use round numbers again. Let's say that this house, I buy it for $200,000. Did you know that every year I own this house, it goes up in value and its equity builds? Since the 1960s in America, real estate on average grows 5% a year. So if I take this $200,000 house, and let's just say that I own it for 10 years, and that represents a 50% increase. This $200,000 house with each year becomes more valuable and has more equity, and after 10 years, guess what it has? It has a value of $300,000, and because I owe $200,000 or less, that is $100,000 a gain. Now you might be thinking, Kris, it would be so awesome if I actually made $100,000 just by buying this house and owning it for 10 years. Well, I got one better for you. Imagine you didn't buy one. Imagine you bought 10. So instead of $100,000 on one house, you're making $100,000 on 10 houses. 100 grand times 10, insta-millionaire, baby. By the way, that kind of equity is what we call appreciation. This is why I buy hundreds of homes a year. There's many other reasons if you keep watching my videos. You're definitely gonna wanna subscribe and learn those reasons. But I want you to know that every time I buy a house and I go to bed at night, I wake up wealthier in the morning. And by buying hundreds of homes, that makes me wealthier by the millions and by the tens of millions. Now let me share with you a third way of increasing the overall equity in a home. Most people, when they buy a house, they can't just buy it outright. They go to a bank and they get a mortgage. And ultimately, whatever they owe is referred to as the principal, whatever is owed left. Well, if I put a renter in this home, guess what? Every month they give me money and I use that money to pay my mortgage to the bank. And after 30 years on a 30-year mortgage, ultimately it would be fully paid off and all of that equity would be mine because it's owned outright, free and clear. So check it out. Every month that I make a payment on this house through my renter to the bank, a part of that money goes to service the interest, but a part of it really does go to pay that down, that principal. So every single month, guess what happens? My equity increases in the home. Now let me share with you what happens when you combine these three strategies. What if you bought houses below the median with equity in them? But on top of that, you bought in the best markets or strategically so that as that market appreciates, you get more equity. And what if you strategically put a renter in the home so someone else makes the payment so that every month your equity also increases? My friend, that is how I make millions of dollars each and every year. And if you're thinking to yourself, Kris, heck, I would like to make millions of dollars too. In the description below, you can get a copy of my book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth, entirely for free. It's a gift from me to you to teach you about equity and the rest of the ingredients so that all of that Kool-Aid comes together and you become a millionaire. You know, Dale Carnegie said that 90% of all millionaires made it in real estate. So every week I come out with a video teaching you how simple real estate really can be to understand. And when you understand these principles, it's easy to make a lot of money. Make sure that you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.